we even have a contract?
There's no contract. I'm just letting you know that if I don't have to ask for
verbal
consent to
contract
record.
legal in the state of New York?
I don't even have to request. I don't even have to tell you I'm recording you in New York. I could just record you. It's a one-party consent state. Like if I consent to myself recording you.
I think of me at the Statue of Liberty right now.
What? Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to the Mixed Martial Arts podcast. I'm your host, Ben Cohn. Joining me today, we have the usuals of Alejandro and Bilal and a special guest, Mehul. So,
hi guys.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. UFC 243 happened. It was actually a pretty fun event in terms of, exciting fights and fun fights and terribly weird fights. But really, we only care about the main, the two main, the main and co-main. So, let's talk about those, right? Because those are the ones we really, really, really need to talk about.
I just want to say before we start.
Oh, sorry.
Israel Adesanya took out the death note and mimed writing Robert's name in it when they were announcing names.
Really?
What?
Yeah. You didn't see him
I like
take out
his
an
nosebleed
imaginary
line
book
though.
and then write a name in it.
What happened?
No, when Buffalo was announcing their names, Izzy took out an imaginary book and then mimed writing Robert's name into it like a death note.
Okay, now I'm getting a little bit sick of his anime fan service.
No, fuck you. It's awesome.
That one seems a little forced.
No, he can do whatever he wants. Come on.
I didn't say he can't do it, Alejandro. What?
I know. Like, you forbid anime in much less.
I'm not being serious, right? Because I'm mimicking the irrational hatred that people have for Izzy.
Jesus.
Yeah. Like I love anime, and I love that he's actually a high level fighter. Anyway, it was Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. God damn it, you guys distract me so easily. That fight happened.
Whoa. Buy Ben's meat.
Oh my god. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe to the podcast. Really appreciate all the support. We love you. And buy my beef jerky if you're interested. If you'd like to have some beef jerky, shoot me an email, follow me on Twitter, message me, whatever you'd like.
Ben's Beef Jerky is the official sponsor of this podcast.
It is. Even though, because everyone lives out of the United States, I can't even sponsor them with actual beef jerky. Anyway, all right. Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Dan Hooker versus Iaquinta. Those are the fights we're going to actually be talking about to break down. However, we should mention some things that happened. Nadia Kassem.
That is the wrong way you announce the Hooker fight, by the way. It's Hooker finishes off a real estate agent.
Why do I have you on this
You're
podcast?
A bad man.
I don't know why. No,
you're a bad man.
No, it's better than the joke that DC made during commentary, which was, haha, Hooker got both hooks in.
God.
Okay, but that we expect from him. He's an actual dad.
Like, he made that joke and then he giggled.
It's the daddest joke ever. It fits his personality quite well. Bilal only joined this podcast for the opportunity to make stupid puns. He doesn't actually care.
I have no regrets about that.
I care.
I regret it immensely. Okay. Nadia Kassem fake glove tapped to land a sidekick. And
got dropped.
A half-assed sidekick and immediately got dropped. And that was the funniest damn thing because I'm like, if you're going to fake glove tap, go for an overhand right to finish the fight. Go for a head kick, something. What the fuck do you gain by throwing some half-assed sidekick that barely lands? What is the point?
Psychological damage, psychological mental warfare.
Well, I don't know what it was. It was just being an asshole, and then she got finished, and it was funny. Megan Anderson.
She was throwing her off by getting dropped.
Megan Anderson got a submission by a triangle choke. Her second win in the UFC. The first one was over Kat Zingano with like an eye injury, though. I really like Megan. I really hope that she continues to improve. She talked about how she's basically been doing only grappling, and I mean, I can't comment too much on how much the improvement was, just because like she really didn't face somebody who's a very good grappler. It is. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy she got the win. She was clearly very emotional. She was talking about the rough times she was dealing with, and she deals with bullying online about her looks or something, which is just fucking crazy to me. So I'm really happy for her. Riddle Malarkey was a fucking war, and it was fun and weird, and just like there's only so much you could do with an athletic disparity. That's really what I wanted to point out. Like there was a point where Riddle reversed Malarkey, and you just saw like a look on this Malarkey's face of like, motherfucker, because he knew he was the more skilled grappler and all that shit. And it was really, really like, I know that face because I've made that face like 100 times. I know that feeling all too well. Other than that, Tai Tuivasa can't really defend the takedown. And, I hate to say this, and if Ty ever hears this, I'm not trying to disrespect him. I think he wanted out of that fight, and I think he also faked going out. I know that's,
yeah.
I really think he faked going out because he didn't want to tap.
I think so also.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like, can he do the grapple at all?
I don't know. The problem was he actually showed some decent, at like get-ups at first, but then he just like got tired of doing it.
I mean, honestly, my reaction to the fight was Tai Tuivasa is crap. Like, he is useless.
I don't think so.
He just kept repeating the same thing because it's as if he did not understand that he was in a fight. Like, imagine somebody just trying to be Mark Hunt while not having Mark Hunt's technique. Like, not understanding why Mark Hunt throws those leg kicks, for instance, or when he throws them. Because he would keep getting taken down, and then he just did not, like, he would try to explode out sometimes, but, like, he did not know what to do in an extended sequence.
Well, to be fair, that was Mark Hunt's, like, initial MMA run.
Yeah, like, that's what I was going to say. Like, that's actually how Mark Hunt fought for the first, like, 6 years of his career. And it's weird because Ty actually has started his pro career in 2012. He's only 26, by the way, which means that he started at 19 years old, took a 3-year break, and then came back in 2015. So he's pretty young in his career in terms of time put in. So it's not like I'm hopeless with him. It took Mark Hunt a really long time to make his style work. And I do think that Ty is athletic enough to potentially like maybe take some time off and work on his game and try to retool it. But I really think he should work closely with Mark Hunt. I think he should retool his game and work with Mark Hunt a lot because he is powerful, he is big, he's strong, and he has a decent gas tank for such a big guy. His style doesn't seem to, he doesn't really have a lot of depth, and that takes time. You have to, in order to gain depth, you need to invest time. And I think it wouldn't hurt him to just maybe take a year off. The problem is financially, it most definitely will hurt him. And MMA fighters are not known for their financial stability. So I don't think he has that option.
I actually think he should spend some time at AKA in that regard, yeah. Because, like, there's one camp that will, like, get you prepared really, really quickly for wrestling. It's AKA. Like,
but it's not.
It doesn't need to be there full time, but, like, just, spend some time getting ground out.
I don't know if he needs to go to AKA solely for the fact that I don't necessarily think that it's specifically the wrestling. The wrestling you can improve in many camps. Mark Hunt, improved his wrestling without having to travel to AKA, right? It's kind of like he has to find his style, right? If he's already like got a kind of weird, like he likes to push you back.
Just call it janky.
It doesn't work. I don't know how else to put it. It doesn't feel like it doesn't work in extended fights. If you can, what?
One might help be.
What the fuck, man?
Oh, that wasn't even like words. That was like it was bad.
I mean, the Indian accent is what it is.
No, it wasn't the accent.
One way AK.
No, don't blame
one way AK might help.
No, I'm not saying
I'll always blame the accent. It's an easy way out. Yeah. So one way AK might help out would be because I can see he's tough. Like one thing I noticed was he ultimately got submitted because he tried to elbow his opponent while being mounted.
That wasn't what happened. That wasn't what happened.
Like,
that wasn't what
but
happened.
Yeah, he did try to elbow. Yeah.
No.
He did try to elbow.
He gave him the arm. He literally gave him the arm. I know jiu-jitsu. He gave him his arm for the arm triangle there. He did not, he wanted him to stop punching him, so he gave him the arm.
Yeah. So basically he has no idea what to do. Like because like the first couple of times, he did a fairly good job getting back to his feet.
Correct.
But the grinding just ultimately broke him down, and he had no idea what to do. And if there's one camp which can get you accustomed to such grinding, it is AKA. And he's young enough that his knees would survive. 1 year
I don't know
AKA.
if that's true. Wasn't Kane with AKA at like younger age, and how did that go? No, I'm not saying.
Let's give him 1 year in AKA.
1 year before his knees blow out completely because they made him do 350-pound leg extensions. All right, Alejandro, do you have anything to add?
As far as Tuivasa, I agree with you. I think he's young. He has time. I don't know that is like go to AKA or whatever. Like, we don't know. Like, it's not that easy to just live where you are. I don't know. Like, where is he gonna go to in order to fix it? I think I said more with your first point of like work with Mark Hunt and get good at what he got good and just give it time, because right now he's at that phase, like this very uncomfortable phase where his grappling is not working. So clearly he's not going to specialize in grappling, but he needs to put a lot of effort there because he's really struggling there. Other than that, like, just time. What he needs is time.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the co-main event, Dan Hooker versus Iaquinta. I mean, that went pretty much exactly how we talked about, right? I think we all picked Hooker.
Pretty much.
We all picked Hooker, correct?
You did.
And Hooker really didn't need to use that much. It was the right leg kick to the calf, his jab, and some other longer techniques. And when in close, he would he would do a good job with his hooks. But he really didn't have to do much.
Hooker with hooks.
Yeah, I know. I did that on purpose. But I'm saying, like, he really didn't have to do much. And he out-grappled Al virtually every time they locked up. And it was really impressive. He kind of big brothered Al, right? Like in those grappling exchanges. He was able to basically kind of just not, he used really good technique. He did a good job of defending the actual takedowns as well. But when Al tried to like reverse him or get top control, Hook kind of just was able to hip bump and push him over essentially. And it was really, really good. Al did a good job of not getting submitted when Hooker had his back, but still, it was a really, really, just a very good performance from Dan Hooker. Al Iaquinta, this is the problem with Al Iaquinta. This is what we identified, is that he's not a pressure fighter, despite the fact that he's a very small guy who kind of gets his best work done when he's moving forward and his opponents are moving backwards. Doesn't pressure, which is also weird because he's from Cerro Longo, and Cerro Longo is pretty good at teaching offensive pressure fighting. So it's very odd that he doesn't really utilize that as his main game. He's also, I don't know how much more time, because I don't see him really improving much in any specific ways from fight to fight at this point. He's been fighting for a while. I'm not really sure where Iaquinta goes from here, but Dan Hooker might. Do you think he's going to move into the top 10? I think he might.
He should.
I think he'll get ranked lower top 10.
He might be able to beat Felder, but like at the elite, I think just like his athletic ceiling.
No, you're missing I'm talking about in the rankings. Do you think he'll get in? Because Edson's ranked number 9, and Gregor Gillespie is ranked number 11, and Anthony Pettis is still ranked number 10.
Why the fuck is Anthony Pettis there?
Because there's 14 weirdos that do this. Like, the rankings make no fucking sense.
They really don't. I don't know if he'll make it into the top 10.
If Gregor Gillespie just got booked, right, in a high-profile fight, so I wouldn't be surprised if his ranking also magically shoots up.
Yeah. They might remove Pettis from the rankings in the next one.
He's fighting
deservedly so.
Right, no, he's a welterweight. He moved up.
No, he's fighting Kevin Lee.
No, Pettis, I mean.
Okay.
Speaking of which, Kevin Lee versus Gregor Gillespie will be fun. If it's 3 rounds, Kevin Lee might be able to win, but if it's not, if it's a 5-round fight, he's
I can't pick him to win 3, honestly.
I'm picking Gregor, but like I'm saying, like Lee is not winning a 5-rounder with Gregor.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I still really wish
I
wish they would have done Gillespie Oliveira. Chucky Olives versus Gregor would have been fucking awesome while it
Yeah,
lasted.
but they're using Chucky Olives as kind of a stepping stone. Like, I wouldn't mind actually seeing Chucky Olives versus Dan Hooker.
No, they have someone booked with Chucky.
I know,
Jason Gordon?
Yeah, someone
Jared Gordon. Sorry, my apologies. I actually really like Jared, so I'm happy he got this opportunity. Not a fight I'd probably pick him in, but I'm really happy that he's getting the opportunity at least. All right, moving on. I mean, Dan Hooker pretty much did what he wanted. I thought he would get the finish in the third, but it looks like Iaquinta actually, is very tough. He did adjust. He did what he could with what he had left. He had no leg, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, by the time he adjusted, his leg was already chewed up.
Yeah, it was too late. It was honestly just too late. Let's talk about the main event. Israel Adesanya is the undisputed middleweight champion, still undefeated, which means that the obvious thing they need to do is bring Alex Pereira from kickboxing over and have them have a rubber match.
No.
Thank you for responding to my very serious statement.
Can I just say, like, I saw some people online being like, oh, look, he got finished with a left hook. You know who likes also throwing left hooks? Robert Whittaker. But, like...
No. I did that too.
I don't understand.
I did that too.
Wait, you did it? Why the fuck would you do that?
No, I'm not saying... Well, because Adesanya has been vulnerable to left hooks in the UFC too. So it's not like it's something that I just was like, oh, left hook. Like, no, I'm not saying just because Alex Pereira did it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Whittaker's pretty much one of his favorite finishing techniques is a left hook. It's involved in virtually every single one of his finishing sequences. Like, if you go look through his career, like, I posted GIFs of him using it over and over and over again in multiple fights against multiple different opponents in multiple different aspects of their fight, off the back foot, moving forward, in combination, like as an exit, as a closing the door strike. For those who don't know, closing the door is that when you open the door when you enter range and start the exchange. You close the door with the last strike as you exit the exchange. It's a good way of it's a way of basically ending the sequence in a way where your opponent can't fire back because you're exiting range and continuing to throwing a strike as you do it. Before we go on, I apologize, Alejandro. I didn't realize you wanted to say something. Go ahead, please, on the previous fight, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Just quickly, like, I agree with everything you said about Al, like everything. But I just had one question, like, for everyone, like, because I noticed that something was odd with Al's stance, like as if his elbows were really close to his body, like to his like ribcage.
He does that,
like, like that looks strange to me. Well, like, I know he does it, but he did it a lot in this one, and it was kind of like fucking up a little bit with like the mechanics of his shots.
He always kind of always does that though. Like, he always has his arms like weirdly pulled into his body. Yeah,
I know, but it looked like I know, but for whatever reason, and maybe I just noticed it this fight, but it looked a lot like Diego Sanchez holds his hands up, and it was like, oh, that's not good. You know, like, it's not good for it's not good for throwing, and it's not good for defending either. Like, well, anyways, that's the one thing I noticed.
Anyway, let's move on to the main event because we really actually, we should discuss the main event. Blanking. So I actually would just like specifically want to talk about that finishing sequence before anything else, because it's important. People are kind of just going like, people create narratives in fights, especially when they're high profile fights, when they have favorite fighters. They just create, it's normal, it's natural. You create a narrative that fits what you're looking to see. With this, like, I've seen anything from Rob is shot and that's why Izzy won, to Rob didn't fight to the best of his abilities considering his skill set, to Izzy dominated every aspect of that fight, to if Izzy did X, Y, Z, would have been finished. Like, you create the narrative that you want to see. I wanted to look at that specific finishing sequence because from what I like from last night, I'm like, it felt like that finishing sequence. So it's like, I was like, it was really cool, right? Because he finished Rob with a left hook, if I remember. The last punch was a left hook, and I'm like, that's funny, but because that's what I was like thinking. I'm like, that's where Rob's going to really land. But I also was like, what bothered me about that sequence is that in the entire first portion of that sequence was Rob landing a 1-2, right? And not just landing a 1-2. It was like, they were like super close to each other. And Rob just blasts him with a jab, glances with the right hand, so it doesn't like land with full force. And then Izzy just throws his big right hand, big left hand to catch, and those two caught him. And that's what put him down for good. And I was like, the problem the thing that bugs me is that people are like, Izzy is this defensive genius. He's virtually untouchable. And even Izzy's like, I don't want to be hit. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
no, he's not.
He's not a defensive mastermind. He's not, like there was an argument like I saw people having like, well, is Rob now, are you still going to say Rob is a better defensive fighter? Yeah. The same way, from a technical perspective, in general, from the fights we've seen. Wait, let me finish, jackass.
Depends on specifics.
Can you let me finish?
Okay, go on.
I'm talking about in a general sense, based on how we've seen them fight over the course of time. There's like, in terms of actual defensive skill sets, Robert Whittaker is a more well-schooled defensive fighter. He has better head movement. He didn't really display it much in this fight, although he started to kind of ramp it up a lot more after he was getting tagged a bit. But like, I'll give you a perfect example. People are like, oh, Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway. Like, oh, how is Aldo the better defensive fighter if he got finished twice in a row by Max Holloway and he got finished by Conor McGregor? I'm like, motherfucker, that's not how this shit works. Like, just because you're a really good defensive fighter doesn't mean you can't get finished with the right style and the right attack. Izzy, however, with that being said, Rob seems to have come in with a game plan of doing what Kelvin did with those blitzes, right? He's like, which means that he's studied tape, which means that Robert really did pay attention to what happened in the Anderson Silva fights, in the, not Rob Wilkinson. Who did he fight? Marvin Vettori, I think it was Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
He clearly watched tape and prepared for a fight with an Israel Adesanya from the past. What impresses me the most is that Israel talked about this before. He's like, if he comes in thinking I'm going to be the same fighter that I was against Kelvin Gastelum, he is mistaken. If he thinks that the things that worked for Kelvin Gastelum will work again, he is mistaken. I have worked specifically on those things. And what impresses me is that Israel Adesanya did not lie. He did not just talk about like, oh, I'm better than I thought it was in Kelvin. You saw specific adjustments made to counter that blitzing style, that blitzing combination. And that's important. Is he now a defensive mastermind? Do I think that pressure is still do I think that there's no longer a way to pressure him? Absolutely not. I think that it's going to take somebody who can do a consistent pressure game, eat the counter shots. It's going to take someone who's going to need to be tough and just flat out. I know this is kind of like boorish analysis. You're going to need to hurt Izzy. Like, you're going to need to just fucking hurt him. And right now, the top two contenders outside of, Jesus Christ, it's Costa and Romero are the two next. And I think Costa is for sure going to be next in line if I had to guess. We have two guys who are very good pressure fighters, who are very tough. If you don't believe me, go watch their last fight. Yes, I know Mehul is next. But it was fantastic. The fight was really well done. I'm not just saying Rob is shot. I don't want to take any credit away from Izzy because the guy deserves all the credit in the world. He just beat Robert Whittaker, you motherfuckers. So give Izzy his credit. Don't just say Izzy beat a diminished Rob. Don't say that Izzy fought a perfect fight. There was aspects of this fight where there's a lot to take away from it. Also, Robert was discouraged from the leg kicks, and Alejandro looked into why. He did a lot of research on that. So, Mehul, you're next, but let Alejandro have that specific aspect of it. And after Mehul will be Alejandro. Mehul, go ahead, please.
Right. So I wanted to talk about something that is related to what you just said. I did, I'm not going to pretend that this was based on some huge, deep technical analysis, but I did have a feeling that Izzy was going to win. And one of the reasons was a couple of things. One was that the entire narrative about him was that he could not handle pressure, right? And that's a fair narrative because he did not do an excellent job of handling Robert's pressure either. But a couple of things. And I looked at Whittaker's fight with Brunson, and it was a brawl. And I realized that sometimes Whittaker, when he starts getting into these exchanges, he likes to put a definitive shot, which just he doesn't like taking a couple of hard-earned points, where he grazes the cheek or something like that. He just likes giving a shot. And with Romero, because Romero is a fighter who cares about rhythm, so he is happy to take a couple of shots. Here, even when Izzy took a couple of shots, he would try to adjust, he would try to pivot, he would fire back, and that would make Whittaker stay for 1 second extra in the pocket. And ultimately, that's how he got hurt. That doesn't mean that he's less defensively responsible. I think, for instance, he would beat Costa a lot easier than Izzy would beat Costa.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I also, just to jump off what you were saying, Whittaker was putting some real fucking heat on his punches. He really was winging those shots, and I think that was kind of as he was getting more and more frustrated. But go on, sorry.
And I think he also looked at the Gastelum fight, as you said, and he saw that Gastelum had a lot of success. But Izzy adjusted in the Gastelum fight itself in the 5th round. He did a great job of adjusting, and he nearly knocked out Kevin. And Kevin has a chin made of vibranium, right?
I don't think he does anymore, but that's a personal theory of mine. I think we're going to see a steep drop off in Kelvin's durability. But again,
perhaps this fight would be a reason.
No, I think it is the reason.
Because Izzy adjusted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I think Izzy adjusted, and Izzy, as you said, he came and he said, if you think Israel Adesanya's book is out, the book on Israel Adesanya is out, then you're absolutely mistaken. And he improved when he showed it. He was just a little bit better in his defense than he used to be. He would pivot a little bit better. He would move his head a little bit more. He was especially wary of the head kick. He really was. And
Can I just point out? Sorry, go ahead. No, finish.
No, yeah. So he kept moving his head, which meant he had learned from his previous fight.
Correct.
So he kept moving his head. He would pivot. I noticed his pivots. They were really good. And he would keep hitting back.
You love the word pivot so much.
Well, I also tolerate Ross. So, yeah.
That's true. I was about to say.
Yeah.
The one thing I also wanted to point out, those exchanges for head kicks that they kept throwing at each other was really fun. I don't care. That's one of the most fun parts of the fight for me. Watching them, finishing those combinations, trying to kick the fucking head off each other. It was great.
Yeah. And Whittaker nearly had him a couple of times. Once again, Adesanya did not do that excellently under his pressure. He could have, on another day, there was a chance he could have been not knocked out maybe, but maybe the course of the fight would have changed, especially in the beginning of the 2nd round.
Right. There was actually one left hook that specifically I wanted to mention because I cannot remember what round. I have to rewatch it. But I distinctly said after that hook landed, I'm like, that was a knockout punch because it landed, but it hit Izzy's glove and he punched through Izzy's glove and still knocked Izzy's head back. I just moved away in real time. So I might have missed that in the mic. He moved Izzy. He literally moved Izzy with that shot where I'm like, if that landed clean, that could have been the shot.
Yeah.
So that's where we're getting into.
I just think
sorry, Bilal, what?
Are you election, Ben?
I don't have to. I'm in a room by myself and we're not recording this with video. So I can pull my erection out and do whatever I'd like. And you can't do shit. My show, my rules.
You did win BECW as well, so.
I what?
You won the Civil War, right?
We did.
You can celebrate.
Shit. Guys, all right. Okay. Fuck. We won the bloody
Ben.
Civil War.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Ben.
You're on our team.
But I want to talk.
No. I'm just saying congratulations to us. Alejandro, it's your turn. And then Bilal.
Hey, I can wait. Bilal can go first. I can wait.
No. It's not right to you, man. You've gone last every time.
Yeah.
Bilal is a champion now. He'll be gracious.
Plus, your voice is the only one with a fan.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's do it like this. Bilal, what point do you want to make? I know what Alejandro wants to make. Is it related to...
I have a fuck ton of points, to be honest.
Who do you think... Alejandro, you want to talk about the leg kick specifically, correct?
I wanted to talk... First of all, we're in a lot of agreement this podcast. I want to build a little bit on what you said about...
We all talk a lot, and we actually do mostly agree on the points each other makes. We just we'll disagree on like outcomes and stuff.
Yeah. I want to build a little bit on the defensive aspect of Easy, because I think I noticed something there. And also the leg kicks. Like, why would Rob stop kicking?
Go ahead.
Okay, so first the leg kicks. Like, as we saw the fight, like, we actually, like, those were working for him.
Yes, they were. Those stomp kicks in particular, there was one that was really, like, you saw Izzy's leg kind of like, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it's funny because he wasn't exactly deterred to stop kicking even in round 2, right? But
he only threw 2 leg kicks. He only threw 2 leg kicks in round 2.
Yeah, I know. But for example, like like you have to like look at the fight in terms of how Rob looks at the fight, and I think it kind of tells us something that Robert Whittaker is kind of like a dog in the sense that in order for dogs to keep doing something, they have to keep getting treats, right? Like you have to keep them on the right path. And I think that in some way, like he was convinced that the leg kicks were working up to like 121 of the first round, like of the fight clock. At 121, he tries pushing on Izzy's left knee, and then Izzy pulls it and kicks him with that same leg. And that puts, I think that moment, like that one thing, like put the idea in his head that he was going to get countered. Like it was like a possibility because he was getting countered as he was coming in. So from that moment onward, like Izzy starts no-selling the reactions to his kicks. So Robert cannot quite tell whether they're being successful or not while he's inside of the fight. Like from the outside, we can say, yeah, it's working, right? Because every time he was kicking, like he was at the very least scoring points. After that moment, like it becomes more nebulous and he starts having more success with his hands. So he says, well, I'm going to bank on this. And so Izzy with just like people call it bullshit in boxing, right? Like when people bullshit, it's like when they start no-selling that the shots coming their way are affecting them in any way, right? Like Benson Henderson was a master of bullshit. And Adesanya maybe too, because he was getting hit hard and he was getting hit consistently in the legs, even past that point, but he had already planted this idea in his mind that they were not working and that he could come back with a counter. Then he started implementing his own leg kicks, and you can sort of see why Robert would think, well, this is not getting me treats. Like, I'm not seeing the effect that I wish to see here. It's not dramatic enough. And Izzy is doing wide motions every time he's trying to come up with his hands. So at that point, like, Robert has been hoodwinked into thinking, okay, I'm going to bank on this. Like, I'm going to bet on this. And it didn't work. And why didn't it work? Because there are like technical issues with his blitz. Like every time he finishes, like which builds into like the quote unquote defensive aspects of Adesanya's technique, because he was coming in really hot with the blitz, but at the end of the blitz, his body relaxes. Like he has no pullback. Like if you watch boxers, like every time they finish a shot, like they have a wind back motion, like the recoil, so to speak. Like Robert doesn't have that. Like he just hasn't been taught these things. Or if he has, like they come in drills, but not in rushes forward. So Izzy probed that enough times, and he had this defensive thing where he's leaning entirely on his athleticism, his frame, and his ability to respond, right? Like it's almost a purely athletic form of defense. Like, and you can sort of, well, it's fantastic, good for him, it works for him, but it's kind of an issue because as you get older, that's not gonna work as much. And he kind of got tagged a little bit, like, but they were single shots. And he, as Ben mentioned, like he kept just coming back with these punches, like he was throwing from underneath his own hips, and Robert didn't see them. And the thing that he got knocked down the first round and he got knocked out in the second round with, like, were the exact same kind of these arcing punches that are coming from underneath, and he just couldn't see them. And at that point, his neck was relaxed. Like, he has no wind-up motion. And even though they're in the pocket exchanging, right, in the second time, like, Rob, I think he throws too, like, I think he hits him with a jab and then glances his head with, while Liz is leaning back.
It was a right hand,
he glances his head with the right hand. Like, he missed by just a little bit, right? But at that point, like, Izzy catches him with a right, like, but it was this weird, like, whipping right, like, it came from underneath.
This is where Izzy's length really helped him, because he was
absolutely.
He was kind of out of position. Yeah. Like, I actually I screenshotted like the stances of them.
Absolutely.
They were like that
shit doesn't work if you don't have the athleticism to back it up, like,
or the physical statistics.
And it was like this weird, like, in MMA you're never gonna see that shit again unless it's some guy like this. Like, John Jones can do it because he's not trained like him. So, like, it was this weird whipping, like, he was literally like put it like almost uppercuts, but with these whipping motions. Like, he was literally whipping his head, like, in quick succession too. But it was built into the defensive aspect of his stance, like, but it's purely athleticism. Like, it's not like pure technical.
It's a concern. It's a concern.
Yes, it is a concern.
It's a concern specifically because he's gonna fight Costa next. I will never. Yeah. There are very few fighters I will want to lose more than Costa, but I'm very concerned. Like, just like the first thought was like, fuck, if Izzy fights Costa right now, I'm very nervous. Because Costa is going to be able to deal with at least 2 rounds of Izzy's counters.
Yes.
Costa, more like get lost, right?
You're not Bilal. Please stop. Yeah, you're not Bilal. It's not funny when you do it. It's not funny when you do it, Bilal, Mehul, or Bilal.
Whoa. Or racism.
All right, Bilal, it's your turn.
I do want to add just to the kicks that Alejandro mentioned.
Go for it.
With the no selling. I also noticed that, especially in the first round, when Robert kicked, Izzy started firing back immediate counter kicks. And, like, it seemed to, it forms part of kind of, as you mentioned, bullshitting the effectiveness of them. But, like, it also gave Whittaker something to think about. And you could see he was kind of nervous about hanging out of that range afterwards.
Are you talking about counter leg kicks, or you're talking about kicks in general? Because I think he only threw...
just firing a kick out there immediately after getting kicked.
He only threw 2 leg kicks the whole first round, and I think he threw maybe 1 or 2 body kicks also. He didn't really throw that many kicks in the first round.
No. I'm not saying that Adesanya came out throwing them.
No, I don't think he threw that many at all.
I'm saying he started throwing whenever Rob would throw at him, because I don't know if you watch a lot of kickboxing, but this is usually also kind of a way just to make that range a bit riskier for someone to do whatever they want. Because if you're not going to set up your kicks and you're just going to throw one out there, you are still going to be in the range for return.
I understand that.
Izzy seemed to pick up on that and throw back return kicks quite a few times.
I don't think he threw that many kicks, but I'd have to rewatch it. I mean, he threw more head kicks, I think, than leg kicks and body kicks.
No, I'm not talking about leg kicks specifically. I'm just saying.
No, I know. I'm saying
because it's same range.
But he wasn't throwing head kicks as a counter to Rob's leg kicks. He was throwing.
I'm not talking about the same time counter. I'm just saying return kicks. It's sort of like
he wasn't. He was basically not letting. He was not letting Robert own that range. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
And that forms part of bullshitting in a way there, but like you could see Rob kind of become a bit more nervous about hanging out at kicking range. So he started being a bit too far out quite often. I just wanted to add that to what Alejandro said.
Anyway, go on.
Like what immediately also stood out there was that Izzy kind of he's not a high volume fighter, but he throws a high volume of feints. And Alejandro and I were also talking about this last night before the card started. But it played out exactly in the finishing sequence when I rewatched it, where Izzy feinted, and then Rob, because he is actually a really good head trigger counter puncher, immediately stepped in on that feint to counter the strike that he expected to come his way. Izzy then, we went through this there, got hit by the left hand, glanced right hand, and then countered Rob with that left hook eventually. But like the dynamic is that happened quite often in the fight where he'd feint, Rob would bite on the feint and try to counter, and Izzy would then bank on countering that, counter Rob wanted. And it ended up winning him the fight, which is kind of cool because we don't often see that sort of layered countering exchanges in MMA in general. And there's only like a few people who would feint to draw out the counter opportunity to someone that wants to counter. And like especially since that his entire game is basically just feints, if we're being honest.
Oh, speaking of feints, I'm pretty mad that Robert didn't use them.
No, he did, but
he did not. He did not use feints in this fight.
He used not a lot, but he was way out of range.
He used a ton more feints in his other fights. That's the big problem, is that he did not get Izzy biting on feints at all. Like I totally
he was like way out of range.
But why not use the feints? But he wasn't using them to enter range in the first place, or to get Izzy to maybe throw and then Robert can counter him. Like it was a big part of his game that just was totally absent for basically the whole fight.
Look, if you're gonna stand that far out and trying to follow Kelvin Gastelum's game plan,
Mehul, stop with your shitty puns.
Yeah, fuck you, Mehul.
Mehul left. I don't know what happened.
No, but like if you're gonna stand that far out of range and you're gonna try painting, it's just not gonna work. You need to be a bit closer.
He wasn't that far out of range. He wasn't that far out of range.
He was way fucking out of range.
I didn't even finish the sentence, man. He wasn't that far out of range the entire fight. What I'm saying is that when he was in range, he wasn't using his feints either. When he was trying to enter range, he wasn't using feints. Whenever Izzy threw first, he didn't there was no real dedicated feinting as part of his game plan. He literally tried to replicate the Gastelum game plan, which great, but it doesn't work. So we've seen Robert.
But like he's too smart. He's too smart to replicate Gastelum's game
That's
plan.
what I'm saying. That's the problem, is that he could have done so much more.
He wants to be defensively sound, and Gastelum is like, nah, fam, I'm just going to go in there, move my head, and swang and bang.
No, we should give Gastelum credit. There was some new tools we saw in Gastelum's games. It was probably the best defense we've seen from Gastelum in a dedicated sense. I want to make that very clear, because we've seen Gastelum actually use head movement before. What I'm saying is, in a dedicated sense, he was more defensively responsible, at least at first. And he was using a jab. But
I was talking about footwork in general, because like Gastelum followed him a shit ton, and that's what gave. We touched on this last year. We touched on this last week, but like that's what mainly gave Izzy problems, because he followed Izzy and kind of kept Izzy on the back foot even when he tried angling out.
Right.
Whereas like Rob would go in for a blitz, Izzy would take a slight angle, and then Rob would be like, nah, it's probably unsafe if I just follow him. I'm just gonna reset.
Right, he's not Gastelum, so he needed a dedicated pressure game plan, but he didn't use one. He used the blitz.
But it's not even Gastelum pressured, but he pressured by following. What I'm saying is
I know. I'm saying a dedicated pressure game with actual. I'm saying with actual cage cutting footwork.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't see that from either of them. The difference is that, like you said, Gastelum doesn't care. I don't know how else to put it. He's willing to take the shots and doesn't give a shit. He's like, oh, he's backing up. I'm going to keep going. Where Whittaker's like, he's backing up. He's out of range. I should reset and then continue to. That's what I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that he needed to use cage cutting footwork in order to back Izzy up to keep Izzy in an uncomfortable position. And that's one of the things that in a hypothetical matchup with Costa, I think is going to be very interesting, because Costa is a combination of Gastelum's don't give a fuck, can eat your shots, while also understanding somewhat cage cutting footwork, while also being big, strong, powerful, and beyond tough.
A meat tank.
He's basically a tank. Yeah, he's a meaty tank. Where Costa is going to struggle is that he's not necessarily that fast.
Yeah. Although
I think
I do
Ben's
kind of
meat is
have
better.
questions.
Holy shit, one at a time.
I'm shutting up.
I do kind of have questions over whether pressure footwork is sort of the optimal solution for Easy though. Because like, again, Gastelum didn't use pressure footwork. He just made sure that he followed Easy for long enough that Easy was constantly on the back foot, and where that kind of tall man thing where you just lean away from punches.
You
hurt
could
him.
do that with pressure footwork too. You can force
Yeah, but,
Izzy
like,
to
you need
constantly
to-
be on the back foot and also be effectively cutting him off from getting away from you, which keeps you in range to hit him. Costa's also going to be at a much better, less of a range disparity than Kelvin Gastelum. And maybe even Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, no,
I don't know what
I'm not-
Costa's
I'm-
reach is.
I don't know.
I'm
But
looking
I'm
it
not
up.
saying it won't work. I just have my questions about it because I don't think that necessarily always gets people into that position where they're leaning away.
Wow. Costa has a super short reach, 72 inches.
Okay. Huh.
Which, I mean, whatever. Like, either way, like, also, God, I just saw pictures of Costa. He's such a hoss. He's so hot.
But did you see?
He's
Did you
a
see that
meaty,
Henry
meaty
Cejudo was able to
hoss.
hold him back?
What?
Did you see that Henry Cejudo was able to hold him back?
Triple C, bitch. All right, Mehul, you wanted to say something? We're gonna move on
His
after
Olympic
this.
gold medal.
We're gonna move on after
Yeah,
this.
No, fuck you. Wait, let me go through my notes quickly. I got
Dude,
lost by
we
all the
really
arguments.
don't have a lot of time. Like we've been on this segment for a while. We got to move on.
Okay, well,
You talked.
okay, no, I just want to like give.
minutes.
No,
Did you
because I ended up
through your
arguing with
notes?
you. Fuck you.
No,
I
you
ended up arguing
didn't.
with you. So
You
fuck you.
talked for like 8 minutes straight before I said anything.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, I just want.
No,
I just want-
you guys started arguing. I'm not complaining. I enjoy this.
No, I just wanted to give Robert props because when he was able to kind of follow Izzy and put Izzy on the back foot for more than a split second, he got quite a few strikes in. So like I don't think Israel changed that much from the Gastelum fight because the opening was still there. It's just that like you have to be stupid tough and like committed to eating shots if it means being put out of position to follow or pressure him.
Well, that's
So,
the thing.
like,
Izzy
Rob was able to
sorry.
do that in.
Well, Rob is.
Robert was able to do that in bursts, so good for him. But like, just his style doesn't mesh well with it, and his smartness. I assume.
He is. What do you call it? Rob is, or maybe was, stupid tough. So that's the weird part.
Well, like
Well,
no,
yeah.
is he still like dropped Galvalum? Why did I say Galvalum? He still dropped Galvalum. Gastelum.
The unholy union of Kelvin Gastelum and Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, but like he still dropped him, so I don't think he's like that soft a punch. I just think that it's more a case like Conor McGregor where he hits hard, but not like one hitter quitters. He has to kind of get you into a good position when he's landing on you for him to really put you down. If that makes sense. Because like he still hit Rob quite a few times and like didn't seem to do that much in those exchanges, but like in that final exchange, Rob was out of position and like took the full force as he was trying to twist into his own hook.
I was gonna say, do you guys know Stephen Wright? He was Johnny Hendricks' striking coach during Johnny's run.
Mm-hmm.
So he retweeted a gif of the fight. He said, "Watch the right foot move when Robert misses the right hand. In order to throw the left hook, he tries to move it back mid-exchange. In other words, he tries to bring his foot back so that he can actually get more power into the left hook. Izzy is rooted to the ground and can turn and exchange without moving his feet. It's why his hook was quicker and landed first."
Yeah.
I'm looking at Izzy the entire time. He is leaning back, like way back over his back foot for almost the entire exchange. You can't do that if he's not 6'4" with an 80-inch reach or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, like everything he was putting
like
out there. I'm sorry. Okay, just let me say
like
this.
Alejandro can talk.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everything that he was doing can only work if you're Israel Adesanya, and
Pretty
props
much.
to him. Props to him, because that shit is remarkable.
I have a massive amount of respect for people who understand their body types and can still and do things according to it. Granted, it doesn't excuse, like, obviously I'm not saying use that as an excuse for not doing things correctly technically, but of course. One more thing. for the calls to see John Jones versus Izzy Adesanya, fuck off. Seriously,
no.
I'm not interested because realistically, it most likely, if John Jones dedicates himself to this, would end up with them in the clinch with John just taking him down and just beating the shit out of him on the ground.
Exactly.
Like, I don't see John. Then again, there's the ego thing where John's like, "I'm going to want to be Izzy on the ground, on the feet." But if he like is getting fucked up or frustrated, he's going to be like, "Okay, enough. I'm not losing my title. I'm not losing my title."
Let's just say this. Is John Jones petty enough to get into a fight and say, "I will beat you kickboxing"?
Wait.
No.
Answer the question. Is John Jones petty enough? Answer that question first.
Yes. Wait, no, just let me finish. Is he petty enough to say, "I will beat you kickboxing," and when the fight comes, he just fucking chain wrestles you to the ground and hold and just fucking elbows you?
He also is petty enough to do that. Mehul, last word before we go, unless you already said it.
It's just talking about Bobby Knuckles again. So do you see any similarity in his defensive responsibility and the evolution of another defensive champion?
Don't fucking say Cody Garbrandt. Don't fucking say
I am not saying Cody Garbrandt. Are you talking about Kyoji Horiguchi? I'm actually talking about I'm talking about Jose Aldo, actually. Both of them.
It's Jose Aldo.
Okay, I'm really sorry. Yeah. Okay, whom do I apologize in this particular group here?
Everyone.
I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Not Ben, please. Not Ben.
You have to apologize to me. I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, therefore I am by proxy the Brazilian here.
Oh, that's done. That didn't sound good.
I apologize to Marcelo Garcia.
Thank you. Yeah, I will pass that along to him, and he will probably forgive you.
Please don't pass this along to him, please.
Oh, okay.
Would rather
pass it along, Ben.
Feel safe when I come to New York.
Pass it along.
Go ahead.
Unsafe.
Guys, we got to move on. Let's go. What are you going to say?
Right. So both of them, especially early career Aldo, they preferred winning every exchange, not losing an exchange. Not enough so that they would just start winging punches the way somebody like Kevin Gastelum does, for instance, or most heavyweights do. But they would just be defensively responsible enough to win exchanges. And I think because ultimately Jose Aldo did manage to evolve enough to just be content with barely winning exchanges and not losing exchanges. And people would say he was coasting, for instance. People would say that he's just playing it safe, which probably was, now that we think about it, a good idea. So just this tendency to win every exchange does manage to break down your defense in a way where if you're trying to, for instance, put
whoa. You cut off there, buddy.
Getting demons. So, Indian demons.
That was the accent again.
I mean, am I?
I don't know if I would. I don't know personally if I would. I don't know. I don't know if I would personally compare these two. But
I think it's might be some of that, but also is the karate blitzing style in general. I have some issues with. It works well, but it's not perfect. It's always going to live with those imperfections.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next card, which is UFC on ESPN Plus 19. It's headlined by Joanna Jedrzejczyk versus Michelle Waterson.
Michelle Waterson's abs, I think you mean.
What?
Didn't you see online how freaking ripped she is?
No, I didn't, honestly.
It looks like you could iron clothes on her abs.
Oh, was that picture her? I didn't even recognize her. I honestly did not even realize. Mehul, if you need to go, you can just you could just dip out when you're done. Wow, I did not realize that was her. Yeah, she looks ripped as hell. I don't think it matters. Because I don't think it matters in this fight. I just don't This is among the worst fights in the division for Michelle Waterson, honestly.
Yeah, like we kind of had this conversation in social media a long time ago, and we were kind of having fun with it, right? Like, say, well, this is what she needs to do if she absolutely wants to win.
I don't think she.
But,
I don't think. Yeah, I think really, aside from
Yeah,
like a
like-
flash finish, whether KO, submission, whatever it might be, like
difficult.
she's not gonna out technique Joanna on the feet. She's not gonna out volume her because Michelle is actually is not really like known for her excessive volume. And this is a 5-rounder. Michelle is not known for her gas tank. Joanna is. She's far more technically skilled on the feet. She's more consistent. She's got a great game off the back foot, pressuring. She has method. Like, she's not a Jackson Wink protege, so she actually like isn't just doing fucking shit because it's cool. Like, she's not going to be caught by the head and arm throw, if I had to guess. She's way more skilled in the clinch. Her ground game is not bad. She survived Claudia Gadelha on the ground. I'm pretty sure she can survive against Michelle Waterson if it hits there. This is gonna be really bad, I think. I've been wrong before. We've all been wrong before.
Yes.
But what if ATT decides to game plan for her again and tells her that clinching is a bad idea?
She'll still win. She's a better outfighter. She's a better pressure fighter. She's a better in combination. She's better in single pot shots. She's a better kicker.
Yeah.
I think a better.
How about this thing?
Yeah, like she's not throwing spinning kicks.
Boob job. Okay, how about this thing? What if the boob job makes a weight cut extra hard?
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the only potential thing. No, but that's serious, man. Like, she was fucking dying in the Rose fight.
Yeah. Oh well,
like,
it's possible that she slimmed down. Like maybe she got her shit together. Maybe she got a better weight cutting procedure. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But all I can say is
hope so.
I hope so too. The only thing I can say is that her weight cut just completely drains her to the point where she's just not able to fight the same way she used to, or she's just not the same person. But assuming she shows up if she shows up like she did in the second Rose fight, Michelle's going to be fucked up. Like, this is going to be, like, we might see early Joanna Run type, like, where she just beat the shit out of Jessica Penne type, and it just gets stopped after just merciless pressure. Because Michelle is not going to be pushing Joanna back. She's not going to be trying to force Joanna the outfighter. She's going to be being the outfighter herself, which is going to make Joanna pressure, probably. And
I'm not going to lie. The thought of one of those beatdowns happening makes me salivate.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for it. Like, because there are people who are like, "Oh, Michelle deserves a title shot," and I'm like, "No."
No, why? And that's the thing. Like,
why did Michelle deserve a title shot? Like, she's not like her
she's
best.
Coming off Carolina.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. Like, I get it, you really like her, but she doesn't deserve a title shot. She's not like there. 2 years ago, she lost to Rose Namajunas and Tisha Torres straight. Then she beat Courtney Casey by split decision, Felice Herrig, and Karolina Kovacevic. Like, come on. Like, it's not it.
No, like, okay, first of all, thank you to Bilal and Mehul. Both have left by now. So it's just us wondering about this fight.
Oh, I guess Bilal left. Okay, fine. Bye.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I just don't see how Michelle wins this fight.
The way I looked at it, like, I was looking at this fight, and it was saying, well, okay, like, Joanna has already shown us that she can deal with a much higher level of technique specific techniques on whatever area Michelle can bring here. Like, she, as you mentioned, Gadelha, Esparza, Kowalkiewicz, like.
No, I wouldn't say Kowalkiewicz.
No, the stand-up, just the stand-up.
I don't think Kowalkiewicz is a better stand-up fighter necessarily either.
No, I do. When it turned into a battle of attrition, that's when Kowalkiewicz shone. Even that, like, Michelle is not going to be able to take it that far. So it's like, at least I don't think so. Like, again, we have been wrong before, but everything she has to bring to the table that we have seen up till now, Joanna has already dealt with at a much higher level. So it's like, it's very, very difficult, like, to just pick her and just like bet your house on Joanna, people. Bet your house on Joanna. That's how one-sided this thing looks.
Yeah.
on the outside. Right?
Let's move on to the co-main event of Cub Swanson versus Kron Gracie. Oh, yeah, I think Joanna will probably beat her in 3 rounds. Probably third round.
It probably doesn't go far.
Yeah, Michelle is tough, but and Joanna might take a little time to like readjust to the weight class.
Yeah,
Cub
because
Swanson,
Joanna doesn't hit very hard, right? Because Joanna doesn't
in
hit
one
very
shot
hard.
power.
So.
She's very much a tritive, and Michelle is tough. Cub Swanson versus Kron Gracie. I mean, this is basically, to me, like this is just like how declined is Cub Swanson, because he's not a threat to him on the feet, and Cub's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's clearly lost a step physically and durability wise.
Yeah, he's on his last legs. Like,
it's
career
hard.
wise.
It's hard. Like
it happens to everyone. Like,
it's hard. It is hard to watch him. Like, you know, eventually everyone fades, but I think that we might see his 5th loss in a row.
Yeah, like the UFC is not the place where you get old.
Especially
want to keep fighting.
Especially not at featherweight.
Yeah, absolutely, because like everything that made Cub Swanson is unfortunately not there anymore in any kind of consistent basis.
Correct.
So that's the problem. Like if you put him like even the Cub Swanson that fought what was his name, Dooho Choi, like Korean Superboy.
Yeah.
Like even that Cub Swanson, like I think he would potentially beat Gracie. Like he beats Gracie. I think that version of Cub Swanson, even that version.
Yeah.
But that guy, he doesn't anymore. That's the problem. And he has to make a living, and I wish him the best. You know, I like him. But it's going to be very, very hard because Gracie can crack. Like he's a good stand-up fighter, first of all, and he's an amazing ground fighter. Yeah. So that's what he's dealing with. Like,
Mackenzie Dern is returning to fight Amanda Ribas. I don't really.
I wish both of them the best performance they can have.
Yep. Luis Pena. Violent Bob Ross is fighting Matt Frivola. That'll be a fun fight regardless of what happens. I think Frivola is being slightly underrated. Pena did look really good against Wyman and Peterson.
You know who Matt Frivola reminds me of?
No.
He's like a slightly faster, slightly more technical version of my boy Polo Reyes.
Well,
he got knocked out.
He got knocked out by Polo Reyes.
Yeah.
He's also a wrestler though, so I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's the right call, but yeah.
No. But that's how he chooses to fight. Like you have to go by what these people choose to do.
I don't think he chooses. I think he gets stuck in there. He wants to wrestle. He tried to wrestle with a couple people, but he wrestled Jalen Turner. If I remember correctly.
He's banging it out. Like remember the fight with Rolando Bernal?
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to. I think he banged it out because he had no choice.
I know, but that's the point. Like, is his wrestling good enough that he can rely on it consistently?
I don't know. That's what concerns
that's the problem.
me. Eric Anders versus Gerald Mearshart. I gotta go with your boy Eric Anders. Just because Gerald Mearshart is so hittable, and Eric Anders does hit really hard.
If there's one thing he does really, really well is hit people.
Yep. James Vick versus Nico Price.
I don't care. I hope Nico Price wins.
Price is going to win this one. Like that's a matchup that's super dangerous for Vic.
Yeah.
One more fight that I want to talk about is Davison Figueiredo versus Tim Elliott, because that'll be a fucking scramble fest that I cannot wait for. Oh boy, it's going to be fun as fuck. Tim's probably going to get submitted, but Figueiredo. Oh boy, I'm excited for that fight. It's going to be fun while it lasts.
Yeah, that fight should be up on the card, like higher up on the card.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for joining us. We had a special guest in Mehul and Bilal. They both left, unfortunately, but Alejandro's still here to say goodbye. Thank you all again. Please share, like, subscribe. It's YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter at MMAngstP. If you'd like to order some beef jerky, you can message me. Just let me know. Once again, thanks and have a great day. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. All right.
Gracias. Que vaya bien.